What's up, guys, and welcome back to the doctor's office. I am Dr. K.R. Knight, here to give you proper diagnosis and prognosis and everything comics and comic book characters. And today, we are talking about the next issue of the Tin Can Society. Oh my god. Bless you. Oh my god. It is getting absolutely insane already. So it starts off about 6 or 7 months prior to what has happened already, where Johnny Moore has died. So prior to that, he came to Kiki to basically talk to her and pretty much revealed himself to be Caliburn. And he was talking about how, he started thinking about his suit and how his suit was basically just like a way to, it was just essentially like disabled armor. And so because he was disabled, he built this suit so that he could walk better, and he's just trying to think of ways to like rationalize what it is that he's doing. So she asks him, she's like, are you like some kind of superhero? Like, what are you? And he's like, I really don't think. He tries to be humble, and she's like, fuck off. Like, you are an engineer, you're a genius, you are a hero to the disabled. Like, cut that shit out, bro. And essentially, she's not wrong. He did a lot for the disabled community because he himself is disabled, as we saw. So she was like, after all of this time, why did you come to me? And essentially, he was basically telling her that he was depressed and that it felt like he was drowning standing up, and nobody really noticed. She was like, I should have noticed, but it's hard for you to notice things when you are not friends with that person. So while they were cool, when he started getting with that red-haired woman, they kind of like mellowed out. So she's like, why here? Why did you come to me? And he was like, I just needed to talk to someone. I needed a friend. And she was like, I wasn't sure that we were. He was like, I wasn't sure either. Want to find out? And so they did talk till dawn, and she says that they did some other things, but that was a completely different conversation for another time. And so she was basically, those are the emotions that she's dealing with, because that's still actually so fresh. Now, the day before the rest of this takes place, Caliburn is murdering several people, setting them on fire. He's using I want to say it's like a sonic blast almost, but you can't hear it. So like a sonic auditory thing to kill all of these soldiers that are there, and then disappears. The next day, she goes to basically see what's going on, and she sees Greg there. And she does start to go through the thing and how Greg was always special and great at everything, special at the arts and everything like that. But the only thing that truly mattered to Greg was that he was special to Johnny. And so Johnny chose Greg to essentially be his sidekick, called Pridewin. And she says he could have chosen any of them to do that, to stand by his side, and he chose Greg, and they hated him for it. Now, it just says that they hated him for it. It doesn't say if they hated Greg or if they hated Johnny. It could just honestly be the double meaning. It's very clear that she hated Greg for that, but it's unclear if the other two hated Greg or hated Johnny for that. So Greg is there, and she goes to talk to him, calls him fuckface, of course. And, she does kind of insinuate that he could have been the one to kill Johnny. When they go play pool, they're talking about Caliburn and how, actually before they go play pool, he says that Caliburn is what happened, is who did this. So it was like robbery and murder, lots of murder. And she's like, how do you know it was Caliburn? And he was like, if you look up, the 87th floor is fucking on fire. When they go have this conversation at a bar with a pool table, they're talking, they're playing pool, and the way that Caliburn works is that it embeds itself into his spinal cord, and that is how he is able to walk. But you can also see that Greg has some spinal implants as well. And so she's like, that's a bit suspicious. He's not the only one with spinal implants. And he's like, that is correct. But when I put on the Pride armor, it does the same thing because he built it the same. So he's like, I didn't kill him. I would not do that. And so he's like, and I actually think that you know that. So, he's ready to follow a lead and kind of figuring he's like, I'm gonna catch it. He's like, basically the Caliburn armor was built to be a ghost because she asks, like, you can't track it. You have all of that stuff in there and you can't like throw a GPS in there. He's like, it was built to be invisible basically. So there is no tracking it, but I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna figure it out. And she's like, yeah, we totally will. He's like, I don't really need your help. So he's getting ready to leave. He gets into his car. His name is Gwen. And she puts a tracker on it. She's like, I can't track Caliburn, but I can track Greg. And so while that is happening, the other two friends are getting in the car and they're like, are you sure about this? And they're like, no. So they're being a little bit suspicious, in my opinion. Now, while that is happening and while she is following Greg, Caliburn actually attacks Greg and almost killed him. If it wasn't for the fact that she got off her bike and started firing at him and started like having him distracted, and he goes to fire at her, and Greg steps in with his Pride Wind, well, not the full armor, but the armor on the hand to kind of like absorb all of that. He tells her to run and leave, but she goes to Gwen and is like, Gwen, help my friend. And she's like, of course. So Gwen starts firing and she's able to, she's like, need a ride, like flashback type thing. She grabs him and he does a self-destruct sequence on the car and they're able to get out of the way. And she's like, are you okay? He's like, no, I'm cool. Just a broken ribber 5. And he's like, I told you it wasn't me. I don't believe you. I really don't. But anyway, so he's like, he's gonna go follow a lead, and she's like, let us just follow a lead together. Like, there was a point made earlier about when they stopped trusting each other, and she's like, and just like that, we started trusting each other again, because he's like, yeah, let's do it together. So they go to like this storage unit, they open it, they almost get hit with a bat that has a sock on it. That is important because earlier when Caliburn was in her house 6 or 7 months ago and she had the bat, he says that you should put a sock on that. So that's kind of important. Anyway, and the other two friends are in there and one of them is putting on the fucking armor that's in there. Weird, right? Right. I'm still going with this. This is a group effort that did not involve Kiki because she seems very, very invested in it. I really do think that this was a group thing and that we're going to get why. Because, and honestly, I think it's a duo thing. Honestly, no, I think it's all three of them. I really do. I think it was Greg and the other two because it was a little bit too convenient for Caliburn to attack Greg just when Kiki was like, I think you did it. It's a little bit too convenient for me. But you never know. Somebody might throw in an okie doke and just be like, actually, it's not. I don't know. But the writing for this is absolutely amazing. The art, fabulous. The storytelling is great. So it's leaving a lot of questions, which is definitely something that I like as long as the questions get answered throughout the series. So we shall see how this goes. I'm actually really liking this with these first 2 issues. This is a very fun read. But that is it for this episode of The Doctor's Office, and I will see you guys at your next checkup.